Hello everyone, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis. Welcome to today's video. Today is going to be a final overview / review of the new Waaagh Ghazghkull Codex supplement for the Orks. I've done a full Codex analysis series, which you can check out at the link in the description in the Ork videos playlist. So if you want to have a look at what this book brings to the table, you can do that first off, because that way you get a better idea of what I'm talking about in this video. So what this video is going to be is basically an overview of the book, my thoughts on how well the book performs, what it does well, what it does not so well or what it's lacking, and then a bit of final thoughts on how it will perform, how it will help the Orks competitively, if it will help the Orks competitively, and well, how much of an improvement it is on the old Waaagh Ghazghkull and on the Ork Codex in general. So let's start positive. What does this book do well? Well, the formations in here are strong, really strong. For example, the Dread Mob is ridiculous. I mean, it's 14 walkers. How many armies can kill 14 walkers? I wouldn't wager many. On top of that, the Decurion, the detachment, the Great Warband. Sorry, I'm going to keep calling it a Decurion because that's what the first one was called. And it's really helpful. War every turn is great. It does have its issues, which we'll come on to a little bit later. But if you have the Council of Waaagh, your Warlord has a 2-up invuln, 3 Warlord traits, and your entire army is fearless for the entire game. And you haven't paid a penny extra for that. It's really helpful in that sense. And the beauty of it is that once you've got the core built, so you've made your core, you've maybe got the Council in there, all you need to do then is add a squad of Gretchen for 35 points, and you've completed the Decurion, which is really, really helpful, in my opinion. What else is good? The rule of cool. Well, it had to be. Orks are cool. Don't let anyone tell you different. Orks are cool. They are badass. And this book reflects that. For example, you have some very unique things that revolve around characters, increasing their old lore, the Red Skull Commandos, the Vulture Squad, which are really fitting. You have, as I've already mentioned, the Dread Mob, the Council of Waaagh. You have different flyer squadrons, which is quite cool. And that's just the formations. You also then have, obviously, your other sections. But there are some really cool things in here, and there's some subtle references to the old lore. Like I've mentioned the Vulture Squad and the Red Skull Commandos. But the Blitz Brigade is a subtle reference to the Mighty Mangler of Bork, if anybody remembers that piece of lore. So, well, I feel like it's a reference to the Mighty Mangler of Bork, and I think it was actually called a Blitz Brigade. So, or was it just a Battle Wagon Brigade? Either way, there's some really cool stuff in here, which as an old-time Ork player, I appreciate. And there's also a fair bit of variety. Like, it's not perfect, we'll talk about that in a minute, but there's a fair variety of things. If you want to go with a lot of shooting, you have Badrick's Flash Kits. You can build your Dread Mob to do lots of shooting. You have Flyer Squadrons. If you want to go very mechanized, you have the Dread Mob. You have the Air Armada, the Blitz Brigade, who can carry most of your core elements. In fact, all of your core elements, if you take the Ghazghkull Mob, can go into a Blitz Brigade. You take 3 squads of boys and a squad of knobs with a War Boss, and they all fit, which is really helpful. If you want to go with just pure hordes, well, the Warband, the Ghazghkull Mob, the Council of Waaagh all revolve around this type of thing. That's the whole point of this book, in my opinion, is to go with the horde. You have many, many options, and that's what's beautiful about this book. You're not locked into one play style. Yes, your core might revolve around lots of infantry, particularly if you take the Warband, but Ork transports are dirt cheap. So you can mount up the entire Ghazghkull Mob for 120 points. You can mount, well, actually, no, you can't, because the boys are 20. So you'd have to take battle wagons for them. You could mount up the Warband, 7 trucks, 200 points. Pretty doable. If you wanted to, of course. The Council of Waaagh is easy to mount. If you want to go mechanized, as I say, you have the Blitz Brigade. It's not forcing you to play one way. It's encouraging you to play one way, i.e. lots of dudes on the board, particularly if you're running the Council, but it isn't forcing you. You have options, you have choice. And that's something that I think Orks were really lacking, was choice for a competitive build. Yes, you obviously have here is the core of my army, and that's it. This is what my army does. For example, it used to be the old Knob Biker Star with looter spam. That was the old way of doing things. And then you had some other stuff on top of that. That was like the old competitive Orks. I don't know what the new competitive Orks is. I haven't really kept up. But my suggestion is that this book will open up more avenues of opportunity for Ork players to create something new. For example, I'm reading this, and while I don't have a Dread Mob, I'm looking at the Ghazghkull mob and saying, well, okay, I want that. What do I need? And I'm looking at Badrick's flash kits. I'm saying, I would never take flash kits normally, but this formation's cool. I would never take that many Storm Boys, but this formation's cool. And it's also, it's not just that they're cool, it's that most of them are quite viable. I mean, Badrick's flash kits, mastercrafted flash kits, it'll take ages to shoot, but yes, please, in a block of 20 that you're never going to kill, sure, I'm not going to complain about that. Dread Mob, 14 walkers, I've already mentioned how impossible that is to kill. Boss Stickrot's Red Skull Commandos, oh, I'll outflank 40 guys and they have rerollable 3-up covers, absolutely. That's assuming you can get into some cover. Blitz Brigade, 5 battle wagons that ram at strength 10? Absolutely. The viability of this book is actually a lot wider than people might give it credit for. And of course, if the formations are lacking something, for example, the Ghazghkull mob lacks maneuverability, you can easily supplement it with the auxiliary choices. The Speed Freaks one particularly, if you are not running the flyer stuff, will really help you get around. The specialists, for example, you go with looters and flash kits, tank busters will give you some extra anti-armor or anti-heavy infantry support that a normal formation of this type might lack, particularly the Waaagh band. You have choice, and that is the main thing that I think we need to take away. However, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, or as Orks would probably say, it's not all blood spatters choppers. There are issues. The main one that I think everybody's been bringing up, and I remember I asked a question to Wargamer Sean in a Q&A, and he said it himself, the cost. The cost of this book is ridiculous. I'm not talking about the 20 quid you need to put down to buy the thing. That's worth it. That's how you should sell a supplement. It's the cost of the formations and the taxes that come with them, if I'm honest. So, for example, Council of Waaagh, 600 points, and there is no option to take Ghazghkull on his own. None. The Waaagh band, 600 points. Ghazghkull mob, even more points. I mean, what is it? 60 boys is 360. Gorkanauts 250. That's 500. 2 Death Dreads 100 each. 3 killer cans is another nearly 100. Is another 150. And then you've got a Warboss squad of knobs, which is 120. You see what I mean? The minimum cost to put this thing on the table is high. The minimum size game, and I'm meaning the minimum size game you could play with this thing, and actually stand the chance of winning, would be to go Waaagh band with Council, and that at min cost is nearly 1,500 points. And you then would need an auxiliary. Okay, I'll take my squad of Grots. Yeah, 1,250 points. Just to put the thing on the table and it to work. Yes, I know the Waaagh band is just a neutered version of the Great Waaagh band, but you need the Council is what makes the whole army work. It's not Waaagh every turn. It's not the Hammer of Wrath, though those are helpful. I won't deny they're helpful. It's Ghazghkull. Ghazghkull is the linchpin to the whole thing, as you'd expect it in the lore. It makes sense. And when you don't have him, you got problems. So if there were a way to take Ghazghkull without the Council, I would be saying this is an issue. But you do have to take the Council, so it is. So the investment cost in your points is high. If you want to run this thing properly, you're needing 2-3k points easy. I mean, just my preferred way of doing it would be to go Kill Mob, Dread Mob, Council, 3,000 points pretty much. Gone immediately. Next up, many of the weaknesses of the Orks are still there. Now this obviously has a bit of thing with the Council, but you're still going to take a lot of casualties to mob rule. Even more so. You're never going to run away anymore. At least you have big squads. But your big squads weren't suffering. They were very rarely rolling a 1 and you had boss polls to get around it. The squads that are suffering are the small ones. because now they're taking more casualties, and there's no chance of getting born to fight, so they're forced to take more casualties, which is bad. As a result, small squads in this thing don't work unless you have Fearless. And the only ways to get Fearless is to be Ghazghkull's bully boys, or to have the big boss pole, or to have a warlord who can wire every turn with property of the Waaagh like Ghazghkull, or if you get lucky with your warlord trait on your war boss, of which you do get a reroll, but it's not that good, is it? On top of that, you still have no invulns anywhere. There's still no way to get an invulnerable save in melee for a character. There's no relic that does it. I mean, you get Eternal Warrior and Feel No Pain 5+ for 50 points. Sure, that might help, but it isn't going to get around the main issues that the army has, which is lack of invulnerable saves. Yes, you have the Mega Force Field, but you're sinking a massive, massive chunk of points in. And the Big Mech, just going to point this out, the Big Mech is not part of either of the core formations. He's a command choice. And if you're running the Council, yes, he's in the Council, but he's stuck with the Council. He's not protecting everything else because he's got to protect the Council. See the issue? The one command slot per core really is going to get constricted. It's the same problem with Pain Boys, actually, which is why I like the Dread Mob so much, because it unlocks these two characters for you without you having to spend a command choice. What else were Orks traditionally weak at? Yes, Walker and monster killing. No fix. No fix at all. I mean, the Chopper of the Ragnarok, you're going to need 2 or 3 combat rounds before that thing gets anywhere. Killer Claw, instant death. Okay, the Killer Claw helps with your monsters, but you still have no real good anti-Walker mechanism outside of melee. You have no really anti-anything mechanism outside of melee that this book gives you, because it's not what the book was designed for. It's designed for melee. And as a result, all the weaknesses that you had, you still have. I mean, yes, you have some counters. Silencing big guns. You have the Red Skull Commandos, and you can put infantry in the Blitz Brigades to scare the living daylights out of your opponent. If you're having Walker issues, you can take a Crushing Crew or a Dread Mob just to go into epic Walker combat. Sure, you can do that. But the core of your army has not gained anything in this book. It's gained Hammer of Wrath, which is Cannon Eat, and it's gained Run and Charge every turn instead of once. But if you were taking the Warband as your core formation, that was doing that anyway, bar turn 1. So it's not benefited you that much. It has benefited them, but a lot of their weaknesses are still there. This just builds on their strengths and leaves their weaknesses glaringly obvious. Next up, I said there was variety. There's variety in builds, but many characters and units have been left pretty much unattended. For example, there is no Speed Freak formation at all. You have one auxiliary choice, but there is no Speed Freak formation. Why? Why is there not a Cult of Speed formation, which is a war boss on a war bike, not bikers, war bikers, and maybe some buggies as an optional, or some death copters as an optional, or as attacks? Why is that formation not there? Maybe they get to re-roll their exhaust cloud saves. That would be cool. That would be really thematic and fitting, because Waaagh Ghazghkull isn't just Goths on the board rushing face. It's primarily Goths on the board rushing face, which is why that's what the core formations are. But Ghazghkull is a master tactician. He used all sorts of elements in his armies, Speed Freaks included. He's got all the heavy armor here, and he's got some of the bigger guns, and he's got his sneaky stuff and his ambush stuff with his Vulture Squad and Red Skull Commandos, and he's got his aerial detachments sorted with his flyer squadrons, but he has no Speed Freaks. All you have is just an auxiliary choice. And it's the same with looters, tank busters. Burner Boys would have really benefited from getting something here. A Mech Guns formation. All these sorts of things would have been very, very cool, but have been left out. Characters, especially characters, got shafted here. No formation contains a weird boy. None of them. So if you want Psychic, you have to take up a command choice or run a separate combined arms. That's appalling. I always complain that weird boys didn't have a place, because you had the 3 HQ, which was War Boss, Pain Boy, Big Mech every time. Unless you're running Ghazghkull, you can maybe take the War Boss out and put in a Weird Boy. But the Weird Boy had no room in that 3 HQ core that you always ran. And this hasn't alleviated that. There's still no room for a Weird Boy because he's a command choice. And unless you're taking 2 cores, that command choice is taken by the Council if you have the points. If you don't have the points, it's taking you with a Big Mech with a custom force field or the Mega Force Field in many cases. Because why would you take a Psyker over a massive aura of protection? Or a feel no pain on a squad, which is the same idea. I mean, you pay slightly less, but it only affects 1 squad. It's just missing something. Weird Boys. Pain Boys. The only Pain Boys. Grotznik can't leave the Council. Dread Mob. Only place you can get a Pain Boy is a Dread Mob. Or as a command choice. And I've already mentioned why command choice is not a good thing to take in this thing. Big Max. Only in Dread Mob. And only in the Council where he can't leave. It's really heavy tax, and it comes back to the cost. If you want to run this army on the cheap, you can, but to make it work properly, still an issue. And if you want the HQs, you need multiple cores. Like, you want that core back of War Boss, Pain Boy, Big Mech with custom force field. Well, good luck, because basically you have to take a Warband and a Dread Mob to get that. It's a Warband and a Dread Mob, or a Warband, a Pain Boy, another Warband, and a Big Mech. Ain't nobody got time for that. Nobody got points for that. That's nearly 1,500 points. All I've got is a bunch of infantry. Not helpful. Not helpful. Just a big issue, and I do think that there should have been an option for some characters in formations, maybe as a 0-1. So maybe the Warband, 0-1 Weird Boys. The Kill Mob, 0-1 Pain Boys. Something like that. And Ghazghkull needs his own slot. Just call it the Big Boss. Make it a command choice. I don't care if you make it a command choice. But let us take Ghazghkull without the Zogging Council. Because it's so many points. I mean, Ghazghkull's the biggest chunk of it. But Grotznik, 2 War Bosses, a Big Mech, and a squad of knobs. What's that looking at? 120, 280, 315, 370 points that you have to spend just to get Ghazghkull. And that's on top of Ghazghkull's already high 225 points cost. Yeesh. Just, yeah. I think one other thing, this is probably a minor criticism, and it's probably something I would level at it, is the sort of anti-synergy between the Great Waaagh and the Green Hordes. They sort of counteract each other. Great Waaagh gives you Waaagh every turn, which if you're not running Council, means you need to be charging on turn 1. Or you can charge on turn 1, which means you want trucks. But the Green Hordes gives you big squad bonuses. So if 2 guys get shot out on turn 1, or a truck gets popped, well, that squad's now useless to you. Whereas a 30-man block can take those hits, and then it gets its steam up, but it might take 2 turns. At which point, yeah, great, you get your Hammer of Wrath, but it's 2 turns you haven't been in melee. There's this anti-synergy between speed and numbers. The book is encouraging you to go quickly to get into melee as fast as you can, but it's encouraging you to take huge blocks of infantry that won't fit in transport vehicles that can go fast. And that's where I think the Cult of Speed formation would have been really helpful if there was one. Just to have one that as a core formation which was all about speed. It was boys, and they got 3 trucks, and then bikers, and a war boss and knob bikers. And that was your formation. That's your other core. You have the option for go fast. Maybe? Oh, and while we're talking about going fast, the flyers have to be taken in formations. You can't actually take them on their own. You can't just take 1 flyer, you have to take 3, which sucks. So yeah, that pretty much sums up how I feel about Waaagh Ghazghkull. But let's talk about it for the Orks in general. Will it help them competitively? Absolutely. Because tournaments play at what, 1850 points, 2000 points? I don't keep up. So I take a Warband, I take a Council, and then I have my auxiliary choices done. I've got 600 points to spend on auxiliaries, which I might split amongst the things that I think are important. Maybe some mech guns, some looters, and then maybe a Blitz Brigade to carry everything. I don't know. Whatever it so happens to be, it will help the Orks build competitive tournament armies. Will it make them competitive, period? I can't say. I really can't say. Because Orks have still got the problem of their randomness, and while that randomness is alleviated here with the buff to mob rule and everything else, and particularly if you're running the council, a lot of that problem gets alleviated. They're still easy to kill. Every armor now is such a big investment, and yet it's almost near essential in some cases, for example, the council. So I do think that Orks have got better. This makes the Orks way, way better. Because before, they were just a gimmick. They could work, but they would only work once or twice. They were kind of gimmicky. Now, they've got much, much more reliable at killing things. And armies that are slow or static have a lot to fear from Orks. Because what always used to be the image with Orks is they just overrun this encampment, this facility, this trench network. That's how I always picture Orks, just overrunning them. And being able to close with the enemy faster allows for that to happen. So Tau, Imperial Guard, gunline armies in general have a fair bit to fear from an Ork horde, and even maneuverable armies like Eldar have to worry. Because if you take a huge chunk, like I'm talking all those squads of boys up to 30 in the Warband, there might not be enough room for the Eldar to jump. I kid you not. If you spread out and go 10 deep, and maybe go 3, 3, 3, and you go 18 wide and 10 deep across all your boys' squads, the Eldar cannot jump over you. They're forced to wait and sit there and get run over by you. And that's amazing. So I do think that there is potential to overrun gun lines. And elite armies do have to worry about just simply being drowned in greenskins. Problem is, you need to get a huge army for that to work. So tournaments, maybe not so much, but in huge games, you can now really drown your opponents, and that's fantastic. But anything that brings a lot, and I mean a lot of guns, lots of pie plates, lots of flamers, lots of multi-kill type of weapons that can just keep going and going and going, that's still going to punish you. Anything that relies on psychic is going to punish you. Anything that punishes leadership is going to punish you hard. And walkers are still going to be a big problem because you only get 1 power claw per squad. So you still have your old weaknesses, but all your strengths have become even stronger. So take everything Orks were good at, and it's got better. And some of their weaknesses, like their low leadership, has been alleviated if you take the council, and the mob rule buff also alleviates the whole running away issue. And you do get some bonus rules as well, such as here we go on your walkers if you take something, or the extra turn of war movement if you're running a speedy army. But there are still issues. So what do I think? Can you build an Ork army without this, actually? It's just a question. Yeah, absolutely. You can build an Ork army without this. And to be honest, if you're starting out as an Ork player, I wouldn't even look at this. Because when your minimum investment is 6 squads of boys, that's quite intimidating for a new player coming in. It's like, oh yeah, you need to spend 90 quid. Oh no, 90, 120 quid. There, that's your basic infantry. Oh, by the way, now you need all this other stuff to go with it. It's a big ask. So if you're new, wait for this. It's worth it, but wait on it. If you're an old hand like me who's got a lot of stuff, this is your new personal playground, your personal plaything to mess with your opponents. I just wish that there was a little bit of tweaking. So as Ghazghkull could be taken without the council, weird boys were more available, flyers were more available outside of their formations, and there was a speed free cult of speed proper formation to allow people to play that way. But I like this book. I don't know how well it will perform. When I go home, at the time of you're watching this video, I may well be home. And that means I will be filming battle reports with this army, and I will be using this book just because I want to see how it performs. And so we'll have a bit more of a field test in the very near future. Anyway, that is all for today's video. I do hope you have enjoyed it. Make sure to leave it a like and leave your thoughts on the Waaagh Ghazghkull supplement in the comments below. Be very interested to see what you have to say. Also, consider subscribing. It would be very much appreciated. We're well on the road to 1,000 subscribers now, and your support is always appreciated. Actually, just a little note. When I get to 1,000 subscribers, I am planning to do a live stream, get a few friends together just for a couple of hours on Skype and just sit and chat and while away the time. And you guys can interact with us in a way that I really enjoy. I love to sit and talk, and doing that with you guys live would be an absolutely awesome experience. So that's something to look forward to when we get there. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. My name is Michael from Tactica Imperialis. I'm not going to shout "Waaagh," it's late at night, my flatmates will kill me. But you know that's exactly what I should be doing at this point. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all again. Bye for now.